marcar una diferencia positiva en la vida de las personas, sus comunidades y sus entornos, y al mismo tiempo promover el desarrollo sostenible de la región. Estos son los atributos que se buscaron en jóvenes líderes de América Latina y el Caribe para ser nominados al Premio Enrique García a Liderazgo, que honra el legado de un hombre de talla mundial, cuyo ejemplo sirve de inspiración para las nuevas generaciones. Luis Enrique García Rodríguez, boliviano de nacimiento, pero latinoamericano de corazón, ha dedicado toda su carrera a trabajar a favor del desarrollo y el avance de la región. Y gracias a los 25 años de extraordinaria labor como presidente ejecutivo de CAF, esta organización vivió un periodo de crecimiento y transformación sin precedentes, una carrera ejemplar y un mensaje claro a los líderes del mañana.
Decirles que tienen que tener compromiso, dedicación y firmeza, que las convicciones son básicas, que los valores, la ética en el comportamiento son una parte integral de lo que deben buscar los jóvenes.
América Latina y el Caribe es una región que precisa de liderazgos firmes para afirmar el camino hacia un desarrollo sostenible con equidad.
Tienen que estar conscientes de que la región tiene debilidades que nos han hecho perder importancia y que es muy importante el tener visiones integrales, holísticas y estimular para que la institucionalidad democrática funcione de una manera que se eviten las polarizaciones, se busquen consensos con miras a una estrategia de largo plazo.
El Premio Enrique García busca incentivar y fomentar el compromiso de una nueva generación de jóvenes líderes para que sigan adelante con iniciativas que marquen una verdadera diferencia en sus entornos y promuevan la construcción de una región más justa y mejor preparada para enfrentar los enormes desafíos sociales y climáticos por venir.
El estímulo que esperamos dar a través de este premio es identificar a personas que están en ese camino, o sea, que están mirando el futuro, que están viendo la transición en que está el mundo, que está la región, que están sus países y que estén buscando soluciones acordes con esta nueva época.
Premio Enrique García al Liderazgo. CAF, Banco de Desarrollo de América Latina y el Caribe.
1982, when he received the Literature Nobel Prize, my apologies, the sound is too low. And he said this, nor the rain, nor the plagues, nor the drought, nor the hunger or wars have been able to change life or death. And these words are very strong today when we are facing simultaneously the biggest challenges that we've had in humankind: war, threats, technology disruptions. This is something we're facing in Colombia, Panama, and Latin America, like climate change, migration crisis, food crisis, things that are increasing, and obviously public health issues. There's also political issues and biological issues that can also be cultural or generational. And the question is, how do we face these challenges? And like Gabo said, how do we guarantee the advantage of life over death? And that is one of the reasons of CAF. When we work on this daily, since the bank was created, we are available to our countries, providing resources, knowledge, flexibility to face challenges that transition from to green technology. We do this every day with hard work, innovation, dialogues with the national governments and other development bodies, and obviously the overall population. Bringing this to practice requires a fundamental component, and that is leadership. Leadership that is conciliating, capable of understanding the world from completely opposite visions. Leadership that is smart. And these are attributes that CAF has, the leaders of Latin America and the Caribbean, and a platform that is the voice. We are in essence a green bank, a bank for sustainable growth. And not only we want, but we can do more. And to paraphrase this, we can dream big because we are on top of the shoulders of giants. We continue building on top of what was built. And that legacy of CAF, of the entire region, has a real name, which is Enrique Garcia. Let's give him a round of applause for an amazing leader. He knows this because I told him in October of 2021, when he got to CAF, when I got to CAF in Caracas, I found a book about him, 25 or 26 years. It was actually 26. And in that book, I highlight 3 practical examples of his management, of extending the geographic coverage, looking for more investment, improve the operations of the bank, which is what allows this bank, that is now a bank of the region, but in essence, there was a long-term vision. And I would say a teacher's mentality. And you have to have the foundation, you have to have the patience to build. And that way of thinking was Enrique Garcia in 1990, and he's here today, and we're thinking like him, thinking big. That's what we told to the team a few days ago. That's why I'm so glad that your friends and colleagues are here because of you. This is the way to imagine what we can do and what we want to do in the region. That vision continues to lead the path of CAF to continue getting stronger, having more presence, and we have achieved it in 2 years with this team, increasing capitalization, almost $7 billion to secure the bank. Last year, we had a world record in operations, more than $16 billion in operations, and the best score ever in the bank. We are driving the bank in this direction, improving operation, extending the horizon for development, securing more memberships, and improving the capital. And this first edition of this award aims to recognize initiatives and actions that can impact positively communities from the perspective of biodiversity and ecosystem services. And there's no better place, no better venue than this to present this. I want to thank Lucia and the main table for making this happen, because that shows the strength that we have in the American continent. The country not only unites the hemispheres, but it highlights the biodiversity of Latin America and the Caribbean. And protecting this biodiversity, this huge asset that Latin America and the Caribbean has, every day, thousands of youth protected. And I know this. Last week, I was in Cauca, in the coast of the Colombian Pacific, looking at these young leaders. We received 24 applications from 23 country members. And we are happy to see the active participation of the Caribbean countries. And that is where our actions are working towards to. Years ago, with Stacy Richard, our manager, we made this announcement of expanding our social work to Latin America and the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, and other countries of the region are joining our institution, enhancing the existing initiatives and providing the backup to all of these visions with renovated vision, innovative practices to continue contributing to the collective protection of our citizens. Recognizing these new leaders gives value to a new conviction. Like Pope Francis stated recently in COP28, nobody is on their own. The challenges that we face as mankind can be taken together. And the regional solution is what we approached in the recent edition of our Economy and Development Report. That today, dear Enrique, this is one of your legacies to Latin America and the Caribbean, is the 20th anniversary. 20 years of producing knowledge with a vision of the region, for the region. We'll do this. We have the network's 20th anniversary this year as well, so I hope I can count on you. These are 20 years producing knowledge for the service of the region. We have the commitment and the conviction to continue enhancing transformative ideas in Latin America as a region for global solutions. Also, this week, we're using the meeting of the leaders. Yesterday, we're having a conference for Latin America on Thursday, and the meeting of the entire CAF team that is flying to Panama to plan for 2024 and work even harder, build more development in Latin America and the Caribbean. Obviously, I want to thank the jury of this award, Enrique Iglesias. Enrique, there's one good and one evil. I can't remember which one is which. MC Campbell's, Lidia Castro, who is here with us as well. And obviously, my apologies, the sound is breaking up. I want to congratulate nominees and the winner. I'm not going to say who is the winner, but congratulations. I'm not going to spoil it. We will continue recognizing the young leaders of Latin America and the Caribbean because we're convinced that this is the way to be strong, to continue working for the sustainable development of the region. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, President. Next, we'll invite to the stage Mr. Andrés Frugeles, President of the jury, who will explain briefly the content of this award for the youth of Latin America and the Caribbean. Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. President CAF, Enrique Garcia, Mr. CAF President, Sergio Granados, members of the jury, nominees, members of the diplomatic body, Dr. Mariano Favorero, special guests, and all friends. I want to thank for this invitation by CAF, the Latin American and Caribbean Bank of Development, to participate as president of the jury in the first edition of the Enrique García Leadership Award. It's amazing to share with you these words in the Bio Museum, which illustrates the strong union, I would say even amazing, between science and art. This represents the commitment of the entire country for the protection of the environment and for the promotion of a sustainable and inclusive world. Precisely, one of the challenges of Latin America is to reconcile the Sustainable Development Goals. They work hand in hand, and they are needed for the construction of a great future. Our countries are called to find the appropriate balance between economy, environment, social, fiscal, and political. And I would say the following: balance, balance, balance. This is the key word, and it should be repeated as a mantra between all stakeholders of development and growth. In this framework, I'd like to highlight three central elements around the Enrique Garcia Leadership Award. And I begin with the genesis of the award. The origin, like Granados mentioned, is in 2022, and the objective is to promote new leadership based on the contribution of the former president, Enrique Garcia, after 26 years of management. His contributions are endless, and not only for the bank, but for the entire region. His leadership allowed CAF, among others, the incorporation of new stakeholders in Latin America. We went from 5 to 18. The risk scores by the agencies such as Moody's, Japan Re-Entry Agency, and Standard Voice, which contributed later to push successfully in the capital markets. CAF exceeded a record of $6 billion last year, and also allowed them to introduce to infrastructure projects such as the Panama Canal. It became a leader in this area, even when the IDB and the World Bank was away from infrastructure projects. CAF went in strongly. We got to record numbers in operations, in approvals, disbursements, portfolio. We built consensus and a long-term vision for Latin America. CAF was positioned in the biggest forums and bilateral spaces in America, in Europe, even in the Middle East. We generated relevant knowledge for the region, governments, and the private sector. And we constituted a technical team at the highest level under the criteria of transparency, independent, and without political interference. In other words, Enrique Garcia was able to transform a small Andean institution in an entire Latin America and the Caribbean Development Bank at the same level of the IDB and the World Bank. This was a dream, but with hard work, he made it a reality. And beyond these contributions, I would highlight that President Garcia has human qualities that made him earn the respect and trust of the region from the heads of state, ministers, directors of CAF, and the entire personnel of the institution. His work not only shined commitment, but also joy, and his sense of humor is still the best. So again, let's give President Garcia a round of applause for his legacy and his management in our organization. Now let me approach the other issue, which is Latin America and SDGs. After the pandemic of COVID-19, Latin America is navigating turbulent waters. We are deep in what is called a series of cascade crises: climate crisis, health, employment, social, education, food security, energy, and life cost. On top of that, there's an international scenario that is more complex, polarized, and fragmented. During the last 3 decades, Latin American countries have shown a poor performance. Jose Antonio Campos and also the Financial Commission for CEPAL has alerted us that the region is in another lost decade of development that can get even worse than the one from the 80s. In this context, the Center of the SDGs for Latin America and the Caribbean, COTS, with base on the University of Los Andes in Colombia, and with the support of Professor Jeffrey Sachs, has recently presented its latest report about the SDGs in the region and has measured specifically these SDGs. The results of this assessment does not give any type of margin. And I quote, "The region is not progressing, and most of the indicators haven't had the expected progress." For this center, the situation and this critical situation is due to the high levels of inequality in most of the countries, also in the job markets, and the lack of awareness and public policies that aim to protect natural resources. This report launches an important alert to meet the goals established for 2030. Therefore, it is necessary for the governments to implement strategies to progress faster to meet the 17 SDGs. And at the same time, the private sector is important, and the multilateral development banking, such as CAF, to help countries. And now I want to ask you 2 questions. First, why not think about a series of bonds for SDGs in capital markets to speed up investments in the most critical areas? And 2, why not think about a CAF bond, SDG 1, to face poverty in Latin America and alleviate the situation of more than 200 million people? We are not living in normal times. We require thinking, creativity, and action. Let's go to the 3rd point: the need for renovated leadership in Latin America. Right now, we are immersed as humanity in a process of change of era. That means we're in the face of a stage with international relationships, governments, and even producing, consuming, and the way that we think. Latin America has the potential to be constituted as the region that is the solution, just like CAF has stated before, due to its richness. And there are some numbers that say everything. Lithium, the region has 60% of the reserve in the world. Copper, 50%, silver, 30%. And these are essential minerals for the transition. This means that these are what other countries need to compete in a green and global economy. The opportunity that Latin America has cannot be wasted. In the middle of this era change, we need renovated leadership. The region needs to build long-term solutions, thinking big, and building wide consensus about the structural changes that are required to secure a better future. We need to understand the policies and leadership. This will allow to put differences, egos, and personal vanities to the side. Leaders should lead by example, but good example, so they can replicate it over and over again. Think and act with audacity and creativity for the benefit of the commonwealth. Whether it is technical or science, should be used for decision making. The themes are exact for the prevalence of humankind. Collective over individual is a rule of thumb. With humility, honesty, creativity, and vision are the qualities needed to cultivate. These reflections that I'm doing today is a part of the work that I developed last year in Oxford as a visiting fellow and will be published in the book in May in Iberoamerica. And let me give you the closing comments. The Enrique García Award is constituted as a valuable occasion to promote this culture in our region. The first edition of this award has centered its attention in recognizing leadership contribution in the youth for the environment, especially through initiatives, actions, and activities that has made a positive difference in communities and also had an impact in the biodiversity and ecosystem services. This is an important contribution by CAF to the discussion and for the spirit of generating new seeds in the youth that are facing the challenges of the future today. And I'd like to close the words with a quote. Squamish leaders in a native community from Washington. And it says the following. Everything that happens to the earth will happen to the children of the earth. I have the certainty that the future is in our hands. It all depends on what we do or what we stop doing. I hope that we do more, we think more, and we build more. Just like Enrique García taught us, one of the best architects for the development of Latin America. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Rogeles. Up next, two people who were part of the jury. They were very important, but they couldn't be with us today. However, they wanted to take this opportunity to tell us about their experience in the participation of this event. We're going to play two videos. Enrique Iglesias, The Fantastic, and Elsie Campos.
Muy buenos días. Es un placer poder decir algunas palabras respecto a esta importante iniciativa del Banco de Desarrollo de América Latina, que es realmente una de las instituciones más importantes en el apoyo al desarrollo económico y social de la región. lleva el nombre del fundador del banco, un querido amigo, don Enrique García, a quien le debemos ciertamente el tener hoy una institución de la dimensión y el peso que tiene la CAF, la vieja CAF en la región. Creo que la idea de crear un premio fundamentalmente orientado a las jóvenes generaciones, tratando de discutir los grandes problemas del mundo y de la región, es una muy buena iniciativa. Yo creo que estamos entrando en una nueva etapa muy compleja, muy confusa en el mundo, y me da la impresión de que esto de que la gente joven comience a interesarse en los problemas sociales me parece de gran significación. Más aún cuando estamos en este momento pensando en los grandes temas que nos va dejando la inquietud internacional y los procesos de cambio que se están iniciando en todas partes. Hemos tenido una primera experiencia que ha sido, yo creo, muy importante. Gente joven, vigorosa, con una presencia muy fuerte de los países del Caribe inglés. Me parece que ha sido realmente una buena demostración de que esta iniciativa es estimulante, llega a que la gente joven piense en un concepto muy importante, que es el concepto de la solidaridad. Mi generación, la generación de las Naciones Unidas, creó ese concepto. Antes la solidaridad se expresaba con la caridad. Hoy en día la solidaridad es la obligación de ayudar y aportar a la sociedad valores y iniciativas como estas. Por eso que el proponerle a la gente joven que se organice y trabaje en temas de interés general es un gran
encouraging young people to work
y felicitar. Yo quiero decir
and
simplemente
make an
que
effort,
me siento muy orgulloso
and we have to
de formar
congratulate
parte del
them.
tribunal, que fue una
And
gran
I feel
experiencia
proud
conocer
to be a part of the jury. It was a great experience. So congratulations,
lo cual es muy importante, y de alguna forma ha sido una
and congratulations to CAF
por
for
tanto,
having this
muchas
initiative.
felicidades y una gran felicitación.
I am very honored to be a part of the jury, the Enrique García Award
hacia las juventudes
for the youth that is working on the environment. First of all, I want to congratulate CAF and the entire structure of the bank for thinking that it is necessary to recognize young activists and committed young people for the development of the environment. We received a huge amount of applicants for this award.
Recibimos una cantidad
All of them with an amazing resume.
de postulantes a
But I
este premio.
honestly think that this
Todos
award
ellos
is a great
con un
opportunity
currículum
to celebrate
maravilloso.
the
Me parece que es
presidents
una oportunidad muy
of
importante
presidents
para felicitar a la ganadora, Ángela
for
Ortiz.
overcoming these important
Una mujer que ha
challenges.
demostrado, joven, que ha demostrado un verdadero
Mr. Enrique
compromiso,
García,
no solamente con
Mr.
una
Enrique,
producción
you have been
ambientalmente sostenible,
is
sino
essential for the
educando
development
con
of the
el
region.
ejemplo,
First, the Andean region,
otras personas
and now this
jóvenes para que
beautiful
se
bank
animen
that has
a hacer
grown
esa transformación con
to
acciones
provide financial
concretas.
opportunities
Pero
to
también creo que este
countries
premio es
of the
una gran
region
oportunidad
and has committed
para
to
celebrar
biodiversity, to
al
inclusion,
presidente
to
de
women's
CAF en el
participation
pasado que
in the
asumió
financial sector.
estos desafíos importantes
I
de
want to wrap
posicionar
up by
el Banco Andino de
greeting my
Fomento
colleagues from the jury.
al señor
It was an
Enrique
amazing
García.
experience.
Don Enrique, usted ha sido realmente
We learned from
un
your
bastión
perspective,
para
we
el desarrollo
shared, we
financiero de la
debated
región,
about the best
primero de la
profiles
región andina y
to
ahora
motivate
este
all the youth
maravilloso
from the
banco que ha
region to
ido creciendo
continue
para darle oportunidades
having
financieras
a role
a los
and
países,
be
al sector
protagonists.
privado, y que se ha
The
comprometido
youth
con
is
los
what I
temas
call the
relacionados
generation
con
of
la
life,
diversidad, con la
the
inclusión,
generation that
con
will
los
allow
temas
us
de
to
la
do a very
participación de las
important
mujeres
qualitative leap
en el
in
sector
the development
financiero.
not only in the Latin American
Termino
and Caribbean region,
agradeciendo a mis
but the
colegas
entire
del
world.
jurado. Fue
You
una
are being called
experiencia
to make a
maravillosa
difference,
aprender de sus
to be more
perspectivas,
compassionate and less
compartir,
competitive,
debatir sobre cuál es
to
el
be
mejor perfil
leaders
y motivar
where
a las y los
obviously
jóvenes en toda la región
we will
para que
look
sigan
to not
tomando
for
ese
ourselves,
rol
but
protagónico.
also Mother
Las
Nature.
juventudes son lo que yo he llamado la
We need to
generación de
have
la
that
luz.
perspective
Esa nueva generación que nos va a permitir hacer un salto
for protecting natural
cualitativo muy
resources.
importante en
You
el
are the
desarrollo,
generation
no solo
of
de
the
esta
future.
región, no solo de América Latina y
You
el
are
Caribe,
facing
sino del mundo
biodiversity,
entero. Ustedes están llamados y
and you're
llamadas a hacer una
assuming the
diferencia, a tener un
protagonism
liderazgo
to
más
carry the
compasivo,
flag
menos
of
competitivo,
long-term
a tener un
environmental
liderazgo
sustainability.
en donde
Thank you very much for
evidentemente
allowing me to
cuidemos
be
de
a part of
nosotros y
this
nosotras
amazing
mismas, pero cuidemos
experience.
de la madre de la madre tierra.
And again, congratulations to the winner,
incorporada
but also
esa
all the
perspectiva de
finalists.
cuidado de los recursos
We had
para su
finalists from
generación,
the
pero
Caribbean,
también para la
and that
generación del
allowed us
futuro.
to
Una
integrate
generación con respeto
the entire region.
entre los unos y las otras,
But
que respeta la
everyone
diversidad de
with
todas
their
las
leadership
personas desde todas
are
sus
showing us the
identidades,
path,
y que en este momento
not only
además
for
asumen el
sustainability,
protagonismo
but
para
also
llevar esta
respect,
bandera de
justice
sostenibilidad
for
ambiental
everyone.
de
Thank you
largo
very
plazo.
much.
Muchísimas gracias por permitirme ser parte de esta experiencia maravillosa, y de nuevo felicitar a la ganadora,
Up
pero
next,
también a los y las
we'll continue
finalistas.
with the award.
Tuvimos
We want
finalistas
to
del
invite
Caribe,
Lidia Castro,
y eso nos permite integrar
Director
a las dos
from the
regiones y a
Climate
todas las
Change
personas
Ministry of
que
Environment,
con su
who
liderazgo
will be
nos están
making a
mostrando
special
el
announcement of
camino
the
que
award.
debemos de recorrer, no solo para la sostenibilidad, sino para el respeto,
Good
la
afternoon,
justicia
everyone.
y el desarrollo para todas
First
las
of all,
personas. Muchas
congratulations to
gracias.
CAF. And the special mention is for Astrid Lasso. I'd like to share with you a summary of her bio. First of all, we share the same passion for public health and climate change. That's why I am honored to announce this. Ashley, is a defender from Barbados in social development issues, especially related to health, the environment, human rights, and women's rights. She began her commitment at the age of 16, reestablishing schools against non-transmittable diseases, which allowed interventions for social justice. Throughout, Astrid has organized multiple summits focusing on issues such as non-transmissible diseases, climate change, and health, sports for climate change, and the impact of climate change in women's and children's mental health. Her objective is to contribute to the social development of the region of the Caribbean. My apologies, the sound is breaking up. In 2020, she launched the campaign of Youth Respectful for the Environment, an initiative with a global reach for all the youth around the continent for climate change and health. The campaign has a network of more than 100 activists from different parts of the world. She also established the Global Climate, which provides climate funding for projects Her campaign has trained ambassadors in different areas for the defense of climate change, such as food security, in 2022, the campaign organized an ocean cleaning in multiple regions, collecting more than 11 tons of waste. She also sponsored young ambassadors to attend COP27, where they were able to participate actively. This campaign has reached significantly 600,000 people in their social media platform in 47 countries, specifically Latin America and the Caribbean. Ashley extended her efforts in Barbados to educate students about climate action, energy, food security, and spatial marine planning. The summit involved more than 500 students from several schools and resulted in a letter to the call to action from the government of Barbados. Ashley also collaborated with the fitness spin guru in a project called Epoactir, which educates elementary school students about the climate, health, and food security in outdoors activities. These initiatives achieved 4,000 students in elementary schools in Barbados. With you, Ashley. Congratulations, Ashley. Now we invite President Sergio Diaz and President Garcia to present the diploma and a statue. We're inviting the presidents to take a seat to hear Ashley's words.
Possibilities within our reach. It really reaffirms that us as young individuals, we can achieve extraordinary things. And my dedication to providing more opportunities for children and young people in the environmental sector is evident through the formalization of the Ashley Foundation, which I started at 18 years old. Through the foundation, we have initiatives like you heard, the Hey campaign. We gave out grants to young persons across Caribbean and Latin America, youth-led projects. And for me, every day I wake up with a mission and a purpose and a commitment to ensure that my motto, no obstacle is greater than the cause, is so much more than offering opportunities to our young people, but really integrating them into environmental processes that are being developed by our governments. Too often, in my opinion, they are consulted. We as young persons are consulted at the end, are not included into the initial stages. We need our leaders to act with a sense of urgency and support. Climate change, as you heard, is one of the greatest existential threats for us, especially my island, Barbados, which is a small island nation state. But it is crucial that us as young people, we continue to take charge, ensuring one, accountability from our leaders for a safer and more just future. For me, this mention is a monumental acknowledgement to my country as well, our youth and children, and the members of the foundation. It really underscores a generation of leadership who shapes our nation and the Caribbean. So therefore, I am calling on leaders across Latin America and the Caribbean to really ensure youth and children become our top priority, prioritizing the health, well-being, and safety of our children. When a disaster occurs, developing countries have to rebuild their economies, and this is putting very serious pressure on our social structures. So it is important that multilateral institutions provide more access to grants than providing us with loans. So the impact of the climate crisis has and will continue to have an impact on the most vulnerable, really hindering our development and least developing countries. And in reality, it's keeping poor people in poverty. So how then, my question is, how then can we achieve the targets of SDG 1, 3, and 13 if we don't work together at reducing these many inequalities? So finally, in receiving this acknowledgement, I want to pledge my continued fight for a world where young voices are not only heard, but actively shape the decisions, the impact of our collective future. I want to thank the jury. I want to thank Mr. Enrique Garcia and all of the members of the Caribbean and Latin America Development Bank with honoring me with this special mention, and congratulations to the winner. Thank you.
A continuación, invitamos a la señora
Next,
Alicia Montalvo.
we're inviting Alicia Montalvo, Action Climate Change Director and Manager, to introduce the winner. Good afternoon, everyone. I have the honor to announce the Enrique García Award winner, and the winner is Ángela Ortiz from Ecuador. Allow me to give you a quick summary of her long, even though she's young, long trajectory for the benefit of biodiversity and the defense of the nature. Angela is a young woman who has proven her leadership capability with strong actions in biodiversity, sustainability, and innovation. Her profile caught the attention of the jury for her willingness to begin a startup that favored her community. Also, Ángela Ortiz has shown the impact of her work, generating a footprint for the improvement of her environment. And her actions are based on the SDGs and CAF. She studied in the Polytechnic Chimborazo University in the career of biotechnological and environmental engineering. And from a very young age, her creativity has shown when solving problems in the classroom. In the year 2018, very young, she worked actively in the biotechnology labs and cellular and molecular laboratory and microbiology, and she participated in the Fulbright in her own Polytechnic University. The project that she participated with was building a photoreactor for the production of biomass to acquire superfoods, so that is super relevant for the region. In the year of 2019, she founded with her colleagues the Club of Microbiology Research, where she provides scientific talks, leadership, networking, etc. In 2019 and 2020, she was a coordinator of the Polytechnic University Award and assistant in microbiology and environmental microbiology. In 2021, she participated in the award, getting second prize. And in Mexico, she was at the level 6, and in the project she participated was eatable mushroom superfoods. She was also a scholar in the University of Sao Paulo, Brazil, and in the University of Harvard as well. But we are interested in highlighting one of the topics where the jury paid the most attention. In 2022, she was the winner of Galapagos Hub for Sustainability, Resilience in the category Enchanted Waters 2022. This project is in execution. It's a water treatment plant for Santa Cruz in Galapagos. This initiative aims to help more people in Galapagos that don't have access to drinking water by using rainwater. This water will be for human and animal consumption. In 2023, she began her startup, Mycelium Pups, that produces edible mushrooms that are also commercialized, including seeds, so that more people can produce their mushrooms at home. Due to her creativity, innovation, her high preparation in biotechnology, we consider that Angela deserves this award. Congratulations. Once again, we invite the presidents to present the award. We will be presenting the award now. Congratulations, Angela, for winning the first place of this first edition of the Enrique García Leadership Award. We invite the presidents to go back to their seats so that Angela can give us her words. Good afternoon, everyone. I am very happy to be here with all of you, and I'm grateful for the opportunity that CAF provides the youth of the region with the Enrique García Leadership Award. I want to greet Sergio Rias Granados, Executive President of CAF, Christian Asinegi, VP of Strategic Program, Enrique Garcia, former President, and member that inspired this award, Enrique Iglesias, former President of the IVD, Alejandra Claros, General Secretary, Alicia Montalvo, Climate Action Manager and Positive Biodiversity, Andrés Rugeles, President of the Jury and VCT of the University of Oxford, Patricia Alborta, CAF representative in Ecuador, and everybody who somehow made this recognition possible. It is an honor for me and a joy to be in front of you as the winner of the prestigious Enrique García Leadership Award by CAF. This recognition not only highlights my personal commitment, but also highlights the crucial importance of leading initiatives that aim to impact positively our environment. I thank CAF for this honor. Life challenges us in unexpected ways, and mine is no exception. At 10 years old, I lost my father. and I had to face a reality that reminded me of the importance of resilience and inner strength. Financial difficulties hit us, but with the support of my amazing mother and the inspiration of overcoming adversity, I decided to be the first professional in my family. The values that I was taught, such as responsibility, gratitude, humility, respect, honesty, and the creativity to resolve problems became essential pillars in my path. Being curious and creative led me to biotechnology engineering. This is where I got into the monumental challenges that our planet faces as challenges. This is not only a testimony of my efforts, but also the beliefs and the need of approaching environmental challenges that our planet is facing. I want to thank God, my family, friends, mentors, teachers, and every member of my team. Together, we have demonstrated that effective leadership can make a difference in the creation of sustainable solutions for the preservation of our unvaluable natural environment. I also want to pay tribute to all environmental defenders and leaders that inspired my way. Their courage pave the way for a more sustainable future. I want to give a round of applause to recognize all the exceptional youth. With a collective effort, are contributed in all of Latin America and the Caribbean. They are the pillar of transformation, showing that union and determination can overcome any obstacle. Let's celebrate not only individual achievements, but also the power of collaboration and collective change. This recognition inspires more youth to get up and be the architects of a more sustainable future. Again, I want to thank CAF for this honor and everybody that has been a part of this journey. Let's continue working together to build a future where environmental leadership is the engine for the well-being of future generations. Finally, it doesn't matter where you're at in life. Inspire and empower more girls, boys, and adolescents around you. Remember that you can never achieve success alone, and knowledge only has value when it is shared with others. Thank you. Congratulations, Angela, the winner of the award, and also Lashley as a special mention. Next, Alejandra Claros, General Secretary of CAP, who will make a very special introduction. Thank you very much. I am twice as honored for speaking after Angela and before an amazing person. I want to say that for me, this is a very personal honor because I met President Garcia 20 years ago. I'm not going to say how old he was because I don't want you to know how old I am now. But I was very, very young. I was an intern in the academy, and it was my first experience with presidents. It was the South American Summit in Cochabamba, my hometown. I am Bolivian. And for me, I am very proud to introduce an extraordinary person. I had the honor, like I said, as some of you, and I would like to raise, if you could raise your hand, everybody who had Enrique Garcia in their journey and who was an inspiration in your lives. Also today, we have a lot of Bolivians here, and Enrique Garcia is Bolivian. I met him, like I said, as a public worker, and I saw a president with excellence, transcendence, and balance. You can see that from the outside, but I was able to see a vision. Now from the inside, working at CAF, I saw values that are much more important: humility, conviction, and willingness. As Bolivian, as a Latin American citizen, it is my honor to introduce the leader that gave balance and love his country, putting common interests of Latin America always on top, Enrique Garcia. All right, I don't know what else I can say after all of this. First, if I start reading all celebrities here, we'll never end. So I'm going to tell you a story. One day I was in Bogota. I was in a very important meeting, and it was with Mr. Uribe, the president of Colombia. And Colombians are very formal. And the president is walking around and seeing who else was around, journalists, firefighters, amongst others. So he sees all of that. And his speech was like 25 minutes. Then I had to give my speech. And I was thinking, what should I say? And I said, my apologies for the protocol. I'm going to ask all ministers to stand up. Former ministers, stand up. Future ministers, the entire room. And that's how I began. But in this opportunity, my first word is, I want to greet and thank especially Sergio, the president, my friend, and all the senior officers for the initiative of creating this award. This award, it's a great honor. I'm very proud and I'm very excited. It has my name and it's precisely linked to an issue that I have always been passionate about. Training people, stimulating the youth, shaping them, because the future of the countries of the region and the world is in the experience of the ancestrals who are here, but the future is in the hand of the youth. So it's an amazing honor. And it's great that the award is linked to a central issue. Issues such as environmental sustainability. I want to congratulate the president, Sergio, for the emphasis that he's putting on being a green bank. And having created the conditions to invite the youth. And really, when the jury, who worked really hard on the base of a work well done by the administration, who had the capability of organizing the criteria. Alejandra and your team, thank you very much. It was difficult because, like Sergio said, there were 24 candidates and it was difficult. And today, it's amazing to see that we have 2 young women. And that is what I love, that there are women that are so committed with principles and values that are so important for the development. Before the meeting, I had the satisfaction around noon of sitting down with Lashley and Angela and have a more personal dialogue. And honestly, it filled me with joy, pride, and excitement to see the motivation that they have, the values that they defend, and the success they have achieved. Because beyond promoting leadership, they are doing concrete things, and very concrete, very practical. And that is worthy of another round of applause. So please. And now something personal. This is a very special event. My entire career has been dedicated to development. And I always said when my mom was pregnant with me, at the 7th month, she would say that I was saying, Mom, I want to work for a multilateral. And in fact, I started my engineering career and realized that I needed to work in finances and development. And I began my career in the IDB, where I worked in 2 opportunities for 18 years with all my capabilities. And that allowed me to understand the importance of the multilateral banking role. And that was the base, so that at the moment that CAF was being founded, I was working in the IDB, precisely in the president's office back then. We helped in the creation of the original CAF. Then, in a position that I held in the IDB for many years, I was the director of IDB relationships with all development institutions in Latin America and the Caribbean. And I had to work directly with CAF. In the moment that the 3rd president, a great Ecuadorian, precisely Angela, your compatriot, Pepe Cárdenas, that had an amazing trajectory, not only as the minister of his country, but a senior officer in the IDB who wanted to make changes. And we gave him all the support. And that was also another stimulus, so that my position in 2 opportunities in the country, first as VP of planning, and second as minister. And I was a member of the CAF directory. So when I got here, I already knew the characteristics. And like some of the speakers said, trying to project the institution to the new era, looking at the strengths that we had, but what was happening in the other multilaterals, such as the World Bank and the IDB, and trying to make adjustments. And I remember the first meeting that I had with the senior staff in CAF as soon as I was elected in 1991. And I told them, look, I have 3 ideas that I want to implement. First, we shouldn't stay only with Andean countries. We have to extend to Brazil, Argentina, Central America. And one of the officers raised their hand and said, well, President, that's difficult. We have to talk to Brazil, and we think that's difficult. Second, infrastructure. I think, Andres, you mentioned this in your speech. Back then, due to very valid reasons, other positive things were prioritized in social sector, and financial infrastructure, which was the highest trend of the World Bank and IDB, reduced their priorities. So I said, we have to get in infrastructure. Then again, they said, we don't have the capability, Mr. President, that's difficult. And third, I said, we have to get in the capital markets, and that's where we'll get a level of investment. And there was silence. Anyways, the spies told me that they were saying this guy is lost. First was too difficult. Infrastructure, how are we going to do that? And third, even worse, he thinks he's the treasury. Anyway, these 3 points got to building this institution. And for me, it's very satisfying to see Sergio that he's in the journey of progress. Sometimes the governments of our region find it too difficult to rebuild. For example, the new head of state, the new minister, or the new manager of an organization, the new bartender, the first thing they say when they get to their new position, today begins history. So what happened before is worthless. We have to look towards the future. But what's important is continuity with the natural adjustments that should be done according to the new era. And I see with a lot of satisfactions this progress related to an extension of the membership. We began with Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica and the Caribbean, but now we're making even greater progress in new fields of action and new relationships. All of that is important. But now one thought, one comment, leadership. Leadership is something essential. In every field, in all governments, in all public and private organizations, in associations, in unions, anywhere. What does it take to be a leader? It takes having a long-term vision. But not only a vision and that's it, but having objectives that are accurate with quantifiable goals, not only for the long term, but also short and mid-term. Second key point, having dialogues and having empathy to understand the differences. Like Sergio said, one of the biggest issues is polarization. And one of the main issues that we have to face around the world, but especially Latin America, is the capability to achieve consensus. That is the importance of the future leadership. And I think that organizations such as CAF and the IDD has to play its role. And I highlight that beyond the importance of financial resources that development banks provide, it's a catalytic role. But what is a catalytic role? It guarantees seriousness in the process of priorities project selection. There are transparent processes, transparent projects, and this is very important. And transparent processes for acquisition of goods and services, because this requires public biddings to avoid one of the diseases that hurt the world and that our region, unfortunately, is suffering, which is corruption. And the other issue that goes beyond financing is knowledge. Knowledge to be innovative, and to look for an influence positively and help countries to strengthen institutionality, to build strategies for mid and long term that are consistent and always in my conferences and my classes in university, I make comparisons. The success of Asian emerging countries because they have a long-term vision that hasn't changed. But listen to this. These are not democratic countries. So the big challenge, and that's why future leadership is how to achieve in democracy this basic consensus without polarization to build a country and a region with a future. That's it for me. And obviously, this is a very important moment emotionally. And it is amazing to see once again a lot of friends, workers, and former workers from CAF. Because at the end of the day, being here for 26 years is a very important part of my career and my life. This has great impact in my knowledge, in my feelings, in my emotions, in my family life. So I want to thank especially this great institution, all workers for their efforts and for continue to build leadership. And the both of you, the new stars, Angela and Ashley, congratulations. We hope that you continue building the future, and may this be an incentive so the new generations, especially the youth and women, to have key roles in the processes of change and development. So thank you very much. And I want to wrap up greeting all authorities, my good friend Abonero, General Secretary, the CAP High Management, and all the representatives of every organization, our friends from the press and the media. But I want to highlight again, the focus of this night are the two young women who won that we are proud of. And my name being linked to you is very important. And like I said, in the meeting that the personal meeting that we had in the noon, in the Chart for the Americas, where I'm the chairman, other organizations that aim to support these initiatives will open fields so that people like you can continue promoting in alliance with institutions such as CAF and IDB to continue working for the future. So thank you very much. This is very exciting for me and my family. This is a very special moment in my life. Thank you very much. We invite the president for an official picture, President Sergio Diaz. Let's take an official picture with the winners and the members of the jury. Members of the jury, winners, both presidents. Let's take an official picture to celebrate the moment of this first edition of the Enrique García Leadership Award. And with this, we wrap up the first edition of the Enrique García Award. We thank to all the attendees and those who are with us online. We invite you now to the presentation of the Aphrodisiac Group, a Panamanian project that presents a contemporary vision of the traditional Afro-Panamanian drums